Hey there YouTube, welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the garden here. And with Shadow and Bandit running around, it's kind of one of those things where I need to kind of like leash proof the garden. So we've got potatoes growing in these grow bags here. And then we've got a small raised bed. And the problem is that sometimes when you got the boys out walking around on the leash and stuff like that, they're going to pick what direction they want to go in. And like especially when we're out here, the leash goes full length. So this is a pretty big leash. It's got a lot of use to it. So you can see 8 meters. So pretty good size to it. And it's just one of those things that you don't want the dogs kind of like seeing a squirrel or a bird or, you know, some other random thing and going, oh, I need to go get that. And then wiping out your plants all of a sudden. The other thing that I kind of noticed is that with the raised bed, I'm getting kind of a weird edge in some of these gaps. So sometimes the boys will come up to this and the leash likes to catch in between the gaps. So today we're just going to semi-leash proof this garden area. So not full-on dog proofing, just leash proofing it. That way it limits any kind of weird situations and kind of heads off any type of problems that we may see further on down the line. That way you're not getting mad at your dogs when you don't need to be. With the raised bed is basically to take some of the old boards that I have and just put a flat edge here and here. That way the leash, when it hits the side, can't slip in at any kind of nooks and crannies. So that'll be pretty simple for that. I'll do it on at least that corner because that's the primary kind of like exposure corner because this is the end that everybody walks by. So, and I'll do it on whichever ones and stuff like that I can do for what I have wood just on hand. So when we put the little planks across the top, I've got more than a few just 1-inch thick boards. So that's pretty much all I need. I mean, really, if you had just even like a piece of like edge molding, that would probably work fine for this as well. So for the potatoes, what I'm thinking is that it's going to be a twofold setup. So one, to kind of keep it so that if the boys' leash hits it, it doesn't catch into it, similar to the boxes over there. That way, you know, the leash hits, it doesn't get caught and there's nothing weird. So, and then also as the potato plants grow, if there's a storm or something like that, I want it to be tall enough. That way it kind of protects the plants and can be like trussed up in between. So I can put in some type of rigging in the center of it. That way the plants can be protected in high winds, that kind of stuff. So real quick, with this kind of measured out, I can see that I need basically at least 8 feet to go across. And that's more or less the bare minimum. So really I could go longer. And then in height, when on the ground, these bags are a little bit over 13 inches tall. So I figure I need at least another foot in order to kind of help prop everything up. But probably best going at least about 3 feet tall. That way, leash height, I'm not catching like the over the top of it and stuff. It'll hit the side of the trussing stuff that I'm kind of going to make up. Basically, here's the boards that I bought before. So this is what we use to kind of like help prop up against the snow. So just a simple like 1x4. And when I went to Lowe's, I was looking at some of their stakes and stuff that they have. So the stakes were kind of like a 1x1. But they were like $3-4 for a stake. So whereas if you go back in like the lumber section, they had like these 1x2s for about $2 a piece. Just got to put in like a V on it, that way it's easy to hammer in. Plus it gives you a little bit of a stouter stake. So one simple way to kind of save a little bit of money. For this end piece and stuff, just really simple. Just putting one piece right here. And really we could make it more decorative and put a second piece right there. And then if we ever choose to paint it, it'd be kind of cool to like paint the main board's one color and paint that a different color as like an accent. But pretty simple stuff. I'm just using 6x1. Well, so the shank of the screw is like a 6 size, and then a 1 inch long, and that's because of how thin that board is. So, but just throwing about 6 of them in there, that should be more than plenty. We should be all good to go. If the boys manage to get anything kind of like lodged in there, they're really working. But this should be able to take, you know, any kind of like side lashing with the leash. That way nothing should slip in between. We should be all set. No weird like little dog freakouts or something like that, which hasn't happened, but you know, I'd rather not have them get stuck, or you know, then they're like, oh, what's going on? This thing's got me. And then for the potatoes, I'm just gonna cut it like a 45 onto these. You can do it any way you want. For me, I've got a chop saw that, I mean, I could just set it to 45 and away I go. But you could definitely do this by hand with a, you know, little saw yourself, or you could even put a V on it if you wanted to make it fancy. And then I'm just knocking them in kind of lightly, so maybe like 3-4 inches in the ground. The idea isn't for them to be like, you know, permanent fence post kind of things. It's just something where I'm going to join them all together with more pieces and kind of build like a small structure around it. So I mean, obviously if someone were to like tackle it or try and pull it up, it should come up, but you know, hopefully it's just enough that if the boys come around pretty hard with the leash, the whole thing doesn't collapse. Maybe I'll knock it down a couple more inches. I kind of got this haphazardly put together. And the big thing right now is that because everything's just on the outer perimeters, it's not going to be super strong. So kind of like if you make a square, it's going to be wobbly and shaky. And you can kind of contort it probably a little bit. Having this center piece here kind of helps strengthen that a little bit, but really you need to add triangles. I'm not so much worried about the square collapsing as much as I'm worried about side-to-side forces being acted upon it. For today, I'm mostly done with this. I've got 2 little corner braces there, 2 corner braces there. This side's fairly sturdy, still pretty wobbly, but I mean, look at the length of a 1x2, it's going to be a little wobbly. So you mess with like this joint though, you can definitely tell that's way more solid. Same thing with this one. So hoping the boys don't want to seeing something in here when we're off over in this area, and then, you know, slamming into this, pushing that farther forward. But I mean, that's a fair amount of force I'm applying to that, so hopefully be reasonably okay. Hopefully it won't fall down the first time they attempt it. So, but all in all, pretty cheap to put it all together. So this was about 25 bucks, counting the screws, which we still have a whole bunch of screws left. So, you know, fair amount spent. Oh, so boys, ready to go outside and test the slightly over-engineered little wooden structure? Oh, so. Yes, good boys. Did you guys notice anything new? Down the stairs. Nope, guess not. Boys testing out whether or not you can get the leashes stuck already. Bandit, come here. Can't see you when you're over there. Come on, out of the garden. Let's go, boy. Alright, so this has worked out pretty good. A little bit over a month. You can see potatoes have grown up pretty tall. Strawberries have grown up pretty good too. But so far, no one's gotten stuck catching a leash anywhere. This has stood up pretty well, no changes. I mean, biggest complaint would be it seems to be a great spot for birds to land and poop on the potatoes. But other than that, everything's working out. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll check you next time. Shadow, come on, quick walk.